Most people hear the word budget and they immediately think of a financial prison. They picture a dusty spreadsheet that tells them they aren't allowed to have fun, they aren't allowed to buy that coffee, and they definitely aren't allowed to enjoy the money they worked 40 plus hours a week to earn. But here's the reality. A budget isn't a cage. A budget is a map. If you're working hard, putting in the hours, and yet you look at your bank account at the end of the month only to find it's basically a ghost town, you don't necessarily have a lack of money problem. You have a leaky bucket problem. Today we are diving deep into the 5 specific budgeting mistakes that are silently keeping you poor. These aren't the obvious things like don't buy a Ferrari on a teacher's salary. These are the subtle psychological traps that keep middle-class earners stuck in the paycheck to paycheck loop for decades. If you can fix these 5 things, you aren't just saving money, you're buying back your future. Mistake number 1, the leftover logic. The first and most common mistake is what I call the leftover logic. It sounds logical on the surface. You get your paycheck, you pay your rent, you pay your utilities, you buy your groceries, and you tell yourself, whatever is left over at the end of the month, I'll put that into savings. It sounds responsible, right? But let's be honest. How often is there actually something left over? There's a concept called Parkinson's law. It states that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. In finance, this translates to expenses rise to meet income. If you have $500 sitting in your checking account, on the 25th of the month, your brain will suddenly discover a need that didn't exist on the 1st. You'll decide it's the perfect time for new shoes or a fancy dinner or a tech gadget you saw on sale. By treating savings as an afterthought, you are essentially telling yourself that everyone else is more important than your future self. The landlord gets paid, the grocery store gets paid, the streaming service gets paid, but you get the scraps. The solution? You have to flip the script. This is the pay yourself first model. The moment that paycheck hits your account, a predetermined amount should automatically move to a savings or investment account. You shouldn't even have to think about it. If you have to manually move the money, you've already lost the battle of willpower. Automate it. Make your future self a non-negotiable bill that must be paid first. Mistake number 2. Ignoring the phantom subscriptions. We live in the age of the subscription model. Everything is a monthly fee now. $10 for music, $15 for movies, $20 for the gym, $5 for an app that makes your photos look like oil paintings. Individually, these numbers are small enough that they don't trigger our spending alarm. They feel like microtransactions. But this is where the phantom mistake happens. Because these are automated, we stop seeing them. They become part of the background noise of our lives. I've seen people paying for 3 different streaming services that offer almost the exact same content, or paying for a pro version of a software they haven't opened in 6 months. If you are paying $100 a month in zombie subscriptions, things you don't truly value or use, that is $1,200 a year. If you took that $1,200 and invested it in a standard index fund for 20 years, it could grow into nearly $50,000. Is that photo filter app worth $50,000 of your retirement? Probably not. The solution? Do a financial autopsy once a month. Sit down with your bank statement and look at every recurring charge. Ask yourself, if I had to pay for this in cash right now, would I? If the answer isn't a hell yes, then cancel it. You can always sign back up later if you actually miss it. Mistake number 3. The perfect world fallacy. Mistake number 3 is creating a perfect world budget. This is when you sit down and say, okay, my rent is $1,500. My food is $400. My gas is $100. Perfect. I'll save $500. This budget works great until life happens. And life always happens. Your car's alternator dies. Your laptop screen cracks. Your friend gets married and suddenly you're on the hook for a flight and a gift. Most people treat these events as emergencies. But here's the secret. They aren't emergencies. They are inevitable expenses. You know your car will eventually need tires. You know your phone will eventually break. If you don't budget for the expected unexpected, you will end up dipping into your savings, or worse, putting it on a credit card. This keeps you in a cycle of taking one step forward and two steps back. The solution? You need sinking funds. These are small subcategories in your budget for things like car maintenance, medical copays, or holiday gifts. By putting just $50 a month into a car fund, when that $400 repair comes up, it's not a crisis. It's just a bill you've already prepared for. It takes the drama out of your finances. Mistake number 4, the frugality burnout. This mistake is the opposite of overspending. It's over-restricting. Many people start a budget with so much intensity that they cut out everything that brings them joy. No coffee, no movies, no eating out, no hobbies. They try to live on the financial equivalent of water and crackers. The problem is that humans aren't robots. Just like a crash diet usually leads to a massive binge, a crash budget usually leads to revenge spending. You'll hold out for 3 weeks, then you'll feel so deprived that you'll go out and spend $400 on a shopping spree because you deserve it. If your budget makes you miserable, you will not stick to it. And a budget you don't stick to is worthless. The solution? Build in guilt-free spending. This is a specific category of money that is designed to be wasted. Whether it's $50 or $500, this money has no job other than to make you happy. When you have a fun fund, you don't feel like a martyr. You can enjoy your latte or your video game knowing it was already accounted for. Discipline is a marathon, not a sprint. Mistake number 5, tracking the past instead of planning the future. The final mistake is a misunderstanding of what budgeting actually is. Most people think budgeting is looking at your bank app at the end of the month to see where your money went. That isn't budgeting. That's a post-mortem. It's like looking at a map of where you've already been while you're trying to drive somewhere new. It's too late to change the fact that you spent too much on takeout last Tuesday. True budgeting is proactive. It is giving every single dollar a job before the month starts. If you don't tell your money where to go, it will simply wander off, and you'll be left wondering where it went. The conclusion? Wealth isn't built by a single lucky strike or a massive salary. It is built in the boring daily habits of management. Stop saving the leftovers. Stop ignoring the phantoms. Stop pretending the world is perfect. Stop punishing yourself. And most importantly, start leading your money instead of following it. Your bank account is a reflection of your priorities. If you want a different reflection, you have to change the way you move. Start today. Give your dollars a destination, and they will eventually take you exactly where you want to be. Thanks for listening. Now go look at your accounts, find one phantom to kill, and pay yourself first. Your future self is waiting.